Welcome to the Cannabis Digest video review. This week I'm on Vancouver Island visiting Ted Smith and Gail Quinn at their place, a lovely place in Cobble Hill. Actually, this isn't where they live, but it's part of their beautiful property here. This week we've got the right to grow our own medicine, we've got extract interveners in the Supreme Court trial, and Baker Basics coming right up on the Cannabis Digest video review. The first article of the week comes from Matt Murnaugh on the right to grow your own medicine. Matt points out that cannabis growing is a therapeutic activity and that you gain oxygen from being in a room full of plants, which is something which can benefit in the immediate. And he also points out some difficulties that people have accessing the MMPR, such as the cost of the medicine, which has gone way up. Many know Matt through his constitutional challenge for access to the MMAR, as he was showing that it was an illusion, basically, that access was impossible for many. And although that didn't go with the Ontario Court of Appeal, he does continue to make impact through politics and also through his websites such as Murnaugh.ca and the Murnawana Zone through Vapor Central. So Matt is an influential character and a cannabis champion to many of us. And check out this article because it was the most popular article of the week. Al Graham brings us an article about Alison Murden, cannabis crusader. She has fought against multiple sclerosis and trigeminal neuralgia for many years, conditions which cause extreme amounts of pain, which she has overcome through the use of cannabis. And with the success, she has pursued the medical marijuana regulations for many years, and in order so she can have access, and others may as well. And she has become the most recent host on Time for Hemp Radio, which I am also a co-host of with Al Graham. So that's one way you can get to know Alison, but also this article talks about her life and her struggles, and also how she's overcome to become a member of law enforcement against prohibition through her work with Corrections Canada. And so she is an influential character as well. This week we're going to cover a few more. Cannabis Sacrament or Demon Weed. Kyla Williams brings us an article about cannabis in the church, and she says, from her personal experience, I do not recommend trying to argue a religious person into reason by using scripture. That is their domain. Better to simply suggest that cannabis is also a creation of God, and let them look for the scripture to prove you wrong. It seems that there aren't that many scriptures to prove that cannabis is not just another creation of God, and people such as Pat Robinson, religious figures from the United States with influence, have come out for the legalization of cannabis and calling the laws wrong. And so now we have legalization in certain states, and the culture has started to move over into a position to accept these new ballot initiatives. So very positive movement, positive article. Check this out from Kyla Williams. High Court calls for extract interveners. And as many know, the Supreme Court of Canada is going to be seeing my constitutional challenge for cannabis extracts. But now we know that it's on March the 20th that's going to happen. So on March the 20th, we can have interveners make arguments in the court. These can be third parties such as other levels of government, not-for-profit organizations, or industry representatives. They want to provide the court with legal arguments to assist the judge's perspective on either side. So we'll have those submissions by January 9th, and the Supreme Court will make a judgment on whether those people can actually come and make arguments towards the challenge. So we're really excited about this, and we're getting prepared. There will soon be a fundraising campaign to help pay for some of the costs, because it's quite a lot of money in order to hire lawyers in Ottawa and get all the paperwork and flights out there and everything. So we'll be asking for some fundraising support soon, so stay tuned to see how you can help with Extract Challenge in the Supreme Court of Canada. Cannabis Baker Basics, olive oil this week I'm covering because it's the most simple and easy way to infuse your cannabis. And it's also a very effective way, as Dutch researcher Arno Hazenkamp points out when he did some studies on solvent extraction, comparing stuff such as Rick Simpson oil to olive oil and other oils. He found that the olive oil maintained the most terpenes, which offer therapeutic effects in synthesis with cannabinoids. So olive oil is also cheap, non-toxic, and doesn't produce flammable gases, which also benefits when you're making such things as, if you produce concentrated oils, there are some flammable gases that can be produced and can be quite dangerous. So if you're making stuff at home, this can be the easiest and simplest way to turn your cannabis into a product such as a massage oil or some kind of edible product. And it's also quite healthy. So check out my article on Cannabis Baker Basics, and there's more to come. Diane Walsh brings us the article, Hemp Rooting into the American Industry Once Again. And as we may know, hemp was a big part of the American industry once before, and if you check out our sister channel, Hempology 101, for Ted Smith, you'll see a series of videos on the history of hemp in the United States, and you can learn quite a lot through that. It's quite an excellent series, and it's based on his textbook, Hempology 101. In this article, Diane Walsh looks at how hemp is coming back in this day, and that we have different states now who are appealing to the federal government to pass hemp legislation that will allow them to move forward, as they've already passed it, such as in California. And so she is helping in many ways to point out through a series of articles on hemp how it's used for building and how it can be used for fiber, and in many different ways can be a very important part of the future of green, sustainable economy that's being developed hopefully now in North America and around the world. So thanks again for joining me on the Cannabis Digest video review. I hope to see you again next week. I hope you subscribe to the channel and also check out our blogs on thecannabisdigest.ca. My name's Owen Smith. This has been wonderful to be here in Cobble Hill. I'll see you again next week.